Hi there, this is Colin Socia from the QuickBooks team, and today we will be demoing the new requests feature available in the QuickBooks Online bank feed. This feature is geared at accountants or business admins trying to gather more context on transactions from their clients or employees that may have or may be cardholders. So as we can see here, we have a list of bank transactions, and some of these I have questions on for my client. So I can go in here and I can actually add a question now on each transaction. And so this one looks like cleaning warehouse. I'm just going to ask a quick question here. Hey, this looks like bulk supplies. Can you confirm these were cleaning related items for client jobs? Then I'm going to go ahead here and add request to list. So what that does is it adds it to a list of requests, which you can then send out to your client. I'm also going to do the same here. It looks like these are 3 hotel transactions. I want to check and see if this was for a personal expense or not. So I go here, and in similar fashion, I can ask a question again, say, hey, unusually frequent hotel charges. Can you confirm if these are for business travel? And then I'm going to go ahead and add request to list. Now, I can also go in here and just click on this bubble, and I can see that it auto-populates this question. I can also go back and edit it if I'd like. I'm going to go do that. Can you add the receipt? And then I'm going to go add request to list. I see this other one, and if I'd like, hey, can you add some details on what this transaction was for? And I can actually go ahead and add in post here as too. So what this does is it adds the question and then posts the transaction to the books so that I can get on with reconciliation. Alrighty, perfect. Now I go up here and I can see all of the requests that have been added to the list. Perfect. So now I have all the questions that I just asked, and I can go ahead and remove questions if I'd like. And I can also look at some of the settings within this portal, right? So some of the settings that I can set up are alerts. So I can go ahead and alert myself, so the request creator, as to when there are new replies. And this would be every day at 9 a.m. If I'd like. I can also add alerts for my client or employee that notifies them every Monday at 9 a.m. if there are open requests. And now a really fun piece of this feature is Intuit Assist follow-up, which I will demo in a bit. But now, how should I send these questions to my client, right? So there's a couple different ways that I can do this. One, I can send the request via email to my clients. And what would happen here is they would receive an email with a link where they can go ahead and access these questions. Or if I don't want to send an email from here, I can just go ahead and go back to my portal and copy a link. And this magic link, it can be sent via email, it can send via text message, it can be sent via Slack, whatever channel you prefer or the accountant prefers. And what it would do, now that I have this, I'm going to pretend that I am my client coming into this portal. I can now see all of the questions from my accountant. Perfect. So I'm going to add some details on what this transaction was for. Perfect. And Intuit Assist now has all of the information that it needs on the transaction, and it is then switched to in progress. Now, if I go here, I have another question. Can you add a receipt? Of course I can. So I'm going to go ahead here and drag a receipt from my desktop and go send it over to my accountant. And so what's nice here is we actually have our Intuit Assist agent going and looking at the receipt and doing a bit of OCR. And it looks like the receipt that I uploaded was actually a Target receipt and not an Amazon receipt. So our Intuit Assist agent actually identified this and says, hey, you uploaded a receipt from Target. This is not Amazon. It does not match this transaction. So could you please upload the correct receipt for the Amazon.com transaction? So our Intuit Assist agent really helps with kind of that back and forth, helps with the follow-up if needed. And yeah, helps this conversation move along a lot quicker between the accountant and client or business admin and employee. Now coming back into here, I also can see that sometimes I will get a suggestion from Intuit Assist. So on a transaction here, yes, I can say this was for business travel. I can send it over. And then what will happen? Thank you. Intuit Assist has all of the information that it needs. And now coming back as an accountant, I can actually go and see all of the transactions that I have given a response on. So these are the pending transactions that my client gave a response on. I can also go to the posted tab and see the response from my client here. But what I am able to see is the full conversation between both the agent as well as my client. I can go ahead here. Perfect. And I can see all of the questions from my accountant. And so now that I have some of these responses from my client, I can actually go ahead here and mark some of these as complete, right? So this looks good. I got all the information that I wanted. I can go ahead and just mark this conversation as complete. This one as well. This isn't complete, so I'm going to let my client kind of come back here. But what I can do now, if I want to look at all the transactions with outstanding questions on them, or the specific statuses here. So this is complete. I just received a message from my client or employee, and this is waiting for a response. I can actually go ahead and I can sort the grid based on this. So it will show up if I have a long list of transactions. I can also go ahead here and I can filter the list by specific transaction statuses or question statuses. So this one is waiting for a reply. I can also look at the reply received, and I can also go and see completed. I can do the same in my posted transactions and filter. As we can see here, though, I only have one. Another fantastic piece of this feature is I can actually look at some of the transactions that I've received a response on. So here I have a response, or my question, and then I have my response. And I can actually go here, and our AI model will do a bit of work on this side of the accountant or business admin and suggest a new category. So as we can see here, the suggestion has been updated based on new context. This came from a replies to a request for more info on this transaction. So we look at the conversation data and see that you confirmed or your employee confirmed a specific piece of information, and we go ahead and we change the category suggestion, which is awesome. Another area where this feature comes in is the business feed. So say you are a client coming in and you would like to see an update on your business, right? And this could be an accountant or a small business owner coming in. You can actually see that there are some of the outstanding questions that you have not answered yet. So you can go ahead here and review them. And this is just another way to get to the questions that are still open. This is also available on the QuickBooks mobile app, so your client or employee can respond right there. Now, you may be wondering who has access to this portal, who can see all of these questions, and how can I tell when a client or an employee is responding and who they are? So we've added a bit of new functionality here where when adding a request, I can actually add and assign a specific team member, employee, or person to the request. So as I see here, this is the new feature. Only authorized team members can reply to requests for more info once you turn this on. So I'm going to go ahead here into my settings, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. Alrighty. And it looks like I have some team members already enabled for this. And where this is already set up is the Teams area. So if I go and click here, I can see these are all of the employees that I have for my company. And we only enable for employees that have their email address associated. So if I go back to my bank transactions here, I want to go ahead and add a new team member. I'm going to go back here. And once again, make sure that this is set. These are the two enabled. And if I want to add a new team member, I can also do it right from here and add the information, add the team member. But right now, I'm going to save it as is. Alrighty, my requests are turned on. I can go back to my bank feed. And now, if I want to ask a question on a specific transaction, I can go ahead and actually assign it to a specific employee. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to assign it to Thomas, ask for more information, and then add request to the list. Now, if I go ahead here and now pretending I am an employee and I have my link from my accountant, I can see that it requires sign in now that my accountant or business admin has enabled secure requests. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to input the email that my accountant or business admin has put as my email in the team section within QuickBooks, and I can now sign into the portal and get the verification code. Perfect. Put it in. And now I will see a filtered list of the transactions that were assigned to me. So as we can see here, this was a transaction that was just sent from my accountant or business admin, and it is just assigned to me. I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to go travel expense, all the information I need. And now, coming back in as the accountant or business admin, I can see who responded to the request for more info. And as we can see here, it's no longer just the reply, right, from an assigned or an unassigned user, but I can actually see that it came from Thomas. And I have all of the information that I need. Perfect. That is just a quick rundown of this amazing new feature that really helps speed up the process of gathering context on transactions within the bank feed. And if you'd like to learn more about this feature, there is a help article linked in this YouTube video, as well as the settings, and you can learn more about this entire feature within this article.